Published 35 plus papers, served as a resource person in conferences, and holds a 2019 patent, recognized with awards including Best Paper 2014, Merit Award 2015, Women Researcher Award 2018, and Outstanding Presenting Award 2023. Okay, so over to you, ma'am.
Thank you.
Welcome back. Welcome back.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. And it was a nice thing to come back again and again. Okay. Thank you very much, Farah, for your kind words. First of all, pranam to my mentor, my professor, sir, and all other dignitaries, all the participants over here. Thank you very much for being here. And, like it's such a great platform. We have been a very regular part, so we don't, think us being outside of that. So being a part of that kind of. It's a regular, very, enriching platform. And I hope you have learned and you will be learning so many things from my mentor. So thank you very much. And it's a great opportunity. Sir, you could have done it, like when we were also student, so that we could have learned many things by now. Thank you. Thank you very much. A very good evening to one and all present here. Without wasting further time, let me just share the topic of today's presentation, which is mainly on the case study. So I would request all of you to be a bit interactive so that we can, make this session more and more fruitful. So with this, yeah, I guess I have shared my screen and I guess it is visible. Um,
It is visible.
okay. Yeah. So just 1 minute. Yeah. Okay. So I have changed the slide. I guess it is the slides are also changing, right? Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
Clear
So
it is.
thank you, sir. Okay, so it's a request to all the participants that kindly, share your thoughts, because by now you must have learned many things from sir. And what we have learned and what I especially have learned it from sir, I'm just telling you. And you also share what you have learned and also share some of your thoughts into that and make this session much more interactive. Okay, so first we will, I know this particular session is on a case study, but I will be first giving you a brief on that qualitative research. And I hope you all know this, and I will try to relate to what you know and what is written here so that we can have a better understanding of this entire thing. Okay, so so what is qualitative research? Because we know, the research is broadly categorized into two, that is qualitative and another is quantitative. Qualitative research, it refers to this inductive. I will, give you the kind of the terms. The meaning of those terms. I guess you also know that. So it is going to be an inductive, holistic, emic approach and subjective method to understand, interpret, describe, and develop theory on a phenomenon or a setting. And it is very systematic, subjective approach used to describe their life experiences and give them meaning to those life experiences. Okay, so let us just come back to your understanding of this, what you mean by that. So can you, sorry, just 1 minute. Just 1 minute. Huh? Yeah. So can anyone quickly tell me that what do you know? I mean, how are you going to relate to this? What is written as what I have read here? So what is the meaning of what do you mean by in the qualitative research? Anyone?
It is a method of research to collect in-depth objective data from a population or a sample.
Right. Okay. So, do you have any personal experience of doing this by chance? And what is the meaning of inductive? Who can explain it from the example, with an example? You can give your own examples. It's not necessarily that what is written in the slide, you have to give that example only. Yes. What is inductive?
Ma'am, good evening, ma'am. Ma'am,
Good evening.
inductive could mean like we are we are making some inferences or some conclusions based on our general understanding of the research that we have conducted. For example, uh, let's say if we want to know whether a product is liked by a group of consumers, so
Mhm.
we can do a focus group study, and then based on their responses uh, we can conclude whether or not the certain aspects of the products are likable or which features are not likable. I think that's
Right.
an inductive approach.
Okay, right. So, I mean, if like I'm trying to reframe these things for better understanding of all those who are here present. You are trying to, I guess, say that then it is actually a kind of drawing some inferences uh, from specific to the very general, like specific to general, right? So you're saying that
Yes, ma'am.
per customer one likes this product, customer two likes this product, customer three also likes this product. Likewise, we have studied customer like 10 also like this product. So we can say that okay, this product maybe maybe liked by a group of customers belonging to like this particular cluster. So that means we are saying that we are going from specific to generic, means general, right? Is this what you wanted to say?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, right. So you are right. What is it? Just an opposite approach of this? Just another approach which is present in the field of social science?
Ma'am,
Deductive.
Sorry?
Deductive approach.
Deductive approach, right? It's just an opposite of that. So from the general to specific one. So a group of customers like this. So maybe you belong to that particular group. I belong to that particular group. You also belong to that particular group. So it may be light by the inferences may be drawn for an individual. I mean the customers, specific customers, right? So here we are concentrating on different cases. We are concentrating on the specific cases. That is why it is inductive, and qualitative research more or less like that. Okay, so that is one. Why it is holistic? Any idea? Anyone?
Ma'am, because it looks at all the aspects of a certain situation. Or
It's right. Yes. Come on. Yeah. Go ahead.
uh, ma'am, that was it.
Okay, so it is actually not, you're right that it is holistic in nature. It is, like kind of it takes care of each and every aspect. It's not that only one thing that we are going to concentrate, but give you a kind of, as a whole experiences, right? Why is it emic? Any idea? Have you heard of this word emic?
Yes, ma'am. Amic and ethic. I've
Emic and
heard.
ethic and emic, right? Emic and ethic, right? What is this emic? Any idea? It is more of a subjective. Let me tell you, it is more of a subjective. So when you are studying, suppose I'm studying a particular culture, right? So I'm a kind of person who is, let's now relate to this case study as well. So I'm conducting my case study on a particular culture or a particular, maybe a community or a particular individual. Take a very simple case, like a case of maybe some particular, maybe a case of an OCD, right? Now like you will be as a like the researcher conducting this case study, you will be that also kind of using your own approach or understanding defining the case, in understanding the case. So it is your insider's perspective more often, right? Ethic approach is just an opposite of this, right? Any idea of ethic approach? Ethic approach is mainly in case of what? Quantitative research. So sir was before this session begins, this sir was talking about that the that data, it's just a kind of data, and the statistical analysis just a kind of numbers they're giving, right? So the numbers which you're getting are very objective thing, which suppose you are getting that two groups, suppose you have assessed the self-esteem of male and female, right? And you have got no differences in self-esteem of male and female, so you cannot change this finding. Am I making sense to you? So this is actually an ethic one. The data which, like the analysis which tells you, which suggests you, it's an ethic one, because you cannot change it. You cannot say that, okay, no, statistically, when it is statistically not significant, you cannot say, okay, it can be statistically significant, right? So it is ethic approach. But then you as a researcher, you can dig into this factor, dig into this thing, and you can try to understand that why this self-esteem between male and female is not going to be significant. Then this why thing, when you are going into in depth, you are trying to give a holistic picture of that, simply not giving that there is no difference, rather than you want to say that there is no difference, and let me now dig into these things, and let me give you the holistic picture of this entire thing. And that is going to be an emic, because you are using your own understanding. You are trying to find out that maybe because of the adolescent, because of the parental rearing, etc., etc. Now you start, you have started, or you will be starting, that studying that particular group that you have already considered in detail, in as an like in depth. So that is why it is going this explanations, the qualitative research is going to that aspect of qualitative research is going to be an emic approach. Am I making sense?
Ma'am, were you talking about ethic or if you were talking about that, then I lost the connection.
Oh, okay. You want me to come again?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, I said, what is ethic? Sorry, what is emic? What is written here? Do you have any idea of that? You already spoken on that. Do you have
I
any
have no
idea?
idea.
Hello?
No, ma'am, I don't know.
Oh, okay. No issues. Somebody spoke on that. If he or she, I mean, she can come again if she's here.
Ma'am, I said that I have heard of emic and ethic, but actually I heard of those as two types of ethnographic research. So, like my understanding of that is a bit different from what you just explained. So I also had this question whether they are a part of ethnographic research or do we consider it in qualitative? But if you could explain it again as the other person asked, it'd be helpful.
I will explain it. Don't worry. So what I said, that most of the qualitative researches are most often are in an emic in nature. Okay, so as I said, emic means it is the kind of subjective interpretation is more important, which is very much important in case of qualitative research. Subjective in a sense, like as a qualitative researcher, you are putting your own understanding, own emotion, own judgment into it, right? So that is why most of the qualitative researches are emic in nature. But I said that on the other hand, there is one ethic approach, which is more often a very objective in nature. So when we, like use some quantitative research, this quantitative research are more often a kind of ethic approach, because where you will be getting some, like statistical analysis. Statistical analysis will tell you something which is very much objective. Right. Now, when we dig into that thing, that try to put our own explanations that, okay, let me now, go into the detail of that. Let me now try to find out that holistic approach of that. Then we as a researcher, we give our own explanation to that thing. And that becomes an emic approach, I said. Is it clear now?
Yes, ma'am.
Is it clear? Okay. So that means we have these two approaches, and most of the qualitative research is emic in nature. Okay. And it is also a subjective method to understand. As I said, it is just a kind of, it's an emic approach. So it is a subjective way of understanding the thing, interpreting, describing, developing on a the theory on a phenomenon or a setting, or a systematic approach as well to understand the life experiences. Okay, so this is all about the qualitative research. um uh, can we go to the next slide, or do you have anything else to say? Can we go to the next one?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So, as we said that it is more often a kind of holistic, so we can say that it is more often a kind of gestalt in nature, right? So it's a kind of holistic, or the whole is better than the sum of its parts. What we know, it is there in the gestalt psychology. Okay, so the attributes of qualitative research, I'm just reading them. If you want to explain it, it would be good for me. Okay, so with your own experiences. So qualitative research, if you just like adopt the qualitative research, is going to be a bit person centric and it's a holistic in nature. So this we already explained. It also helps the researchers to generate an in-depth account that will present a lively picture of the research respondents' reality. Okay, so we are focusing on the reality. It's not always the kind of only the differences on a statistical analysis, the statistical findings matters, but if we are trying to dig into this like the real life of an individual, or in reality an in-depth account of that. The researcher is required to be a good listener, non-judgmental, obviously, and the friendly and honest and flexible. Because like while you start as case studies and some qualitative research, you start with certain assumptions, and then as you move on, you will be getting something else, and you have to be flexible enough. You have to be very much experienced, better to say. You have to be very much good listener, so that you can understand what is the actual dynamics there in the particular group, right? So this is very important when we need to know, because when we are talking about this qualitative research, we need to know that when we are going to be in qualitative researchers, what are the attributes that we also need to adopt. Okay, so the qualitative research data collections very flexible and unstructured, in a sense, like it is not like always a very much rigid and very much structured like quantitative research. And we are also capturing the verbatim reports, observable characteristics, which are going to maybe sometimes yielding the data and take a particular shape, give us a particular shape of that particular community, or give us a particular idea of that particular community. Now it is, as we said, that it is inductive in nature as well, and it is also ideographic. What is that? Any idea of this ideographic? It's not like nomothetic. Anyone? Anyone having this idea of this term?
Ma'am, in ideographic, we focus on the personal experiences of the participant,
Right,
and
right. Right, excellent. It is actually, yeah. So we are, as I said, that it is more of a subjective, more of an emic approach. So we are actually giving much more emphasis to this, what you said, exactly what you said. That is, we are giving emphasis on that, the life of that individual, the actual, the reality of that individual, the respondent, right? Then what it should be, it's like there is nothing like like if you are maybe you are studying me, and you are thinking that okay, if she should be like this, it may not be like I am not may not be following a certain norm. I may be deviating certain from that thing, your own assumption. Rather, you, when you are following this ideographic one, you are much more focusing on me as an individual and my life, everyday life. Rather, this is what you wanted to say.
yes, ma'am.
Okay, thank you very much. Regards, it's like it actually is a very subjective. So we already mentioned this thing. So if you have any questions, otherwise I'll go to the next slide, which is actually now I will be concentrating on the case study, and I will ask all of you to have your opinion on that. May I?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, thank you very much. Okay, so now this is going to be the today's topic, which is a case study. Okay, so what is a case study? What is your idea? The something is written in front of you, so forget about that. What is written in front of you? Try to come up with your own views, opinion. Yes.
In a case study, you
Yeah.
concentrate on a particular individual or like a particular event, and you go intense into it.
Okay. Anyone also would like to take it forward?
Ma'am, a case study is an in-depth investigation towards a certain situation or event that took place
Hmm.
in the past. And
Mhm.
yes, ma'am, that's it.
Right, right. Anybody has done any kind of case study, has conducted any kind of case study, idea? Or maybe you have read some case studies. Is there anyone?
Ma'am,
Yes.
for an activity during my coursework,
Hmm.
uh, like on a small scale as a class, as a batch,
Hmm.
we did a kind of case study on certain events that happened in, I think in Chennai, like it was related to schools that have caught fire. So
Oh.
I don't remember the exact place and the exact event that happened, but
Mm-hmm.
like our professor asked us to go into detail about that particular situation, and then identify the causes, the reasons, and the consequences that happened due to that event, and what all changes on behalf of the government were made due to that event. So it was
Very
not
good.
something that wrote down, but it was more of a verbal discussion kind of thing.
Very good. So I will also give you one exercise, one activity. Okay, very good, Swati. And I will also give you one activity to all of you, that any kind of case study that you have come across or anything. I mean, you have, I guess, you have your internet connection with you, so you are attending online classes. So you can come across any kind of case studies, and I will also give you one case study. You will try to as you said, that the what are the antecedent of that, you said, right? Your teachers asked you to find out the antecedent of that, and then this analyzing those antecedent, and then maybe prioritizing that what could be the very very much primary factors, or maybe followed by secondary factors, or maybe tertiary factors. So you will find it out, and you will also try to do things which is like like what are the steps taken by those kind of could be taken by this the school authority or the college authority. Maybe your teachers asked you to do that, and then you can suggest your own opinion. I guess you did this, Swati.
Yes, ma'am. Kind of, we did the same thing.
Yes. So that means you will be also doing these things. I will also give you one case. You will, it's a kind of hypothetical one, and you will have to also try to kind of understand that what this particular the antecedent of that particular case, and also the the different the kind of sequencing those things, those antecedents, and then try to suggest some uh, solution to those things, so that like it to solve that particular problem, right? So I will also give you that. I mean, once we'll go a little bit like a little bit understanding these things, I will give you the activity as well. Okay, so please remind me, Swati, at that time, that when you kind of we will be working on that, and we will be preparing a small case study exercise. Okay.
Okay, ma'am.
Okay. Yes, so it's like it provides a, as you said, as Swati said, and many of you contributed in this way, that it provides a kind of systematic, scientific way of perceiving, examining the event. So she said that now you have to understand the antecedent of that, and then collecting data like what happened, why did these things happen, and then analyze the information and prepare a report. And where you have to suggest, as a researcher, you have to suggest certain way out or strategies which help you to deal with that particular incident better. So this is actually a kind of researcher will gain a sharpened understanding of why the instance happened as it did, and it might become important to look at more extensively in future research, because like when the researchers are suggesting that this could be the like the probable strategies to be adopted by a particular in order to deal with that particular problem. So same thing what Swati suggested, the school needs to adopt certain strategies, so that is going to be a kind of way out, or the resolution of those problems, I mean the factors, right, which created that problem. And in other words, case study may be defined as a research strategy, an empirical inquiry which investigates a phenomenon within the real life context. Case study research may be based on, you have to make a note of this, case study research may be based on single and multiple case studies, because we will be talking about the different types of case studies. So it could be a single, multiple case studies. Now there would be one more parameter based on which we will be dividing case studies into different segments, but that will come to little later. Let's move on, continuing with this, as I have already highlighted that we can use case study in the clinical psychology, not only in clinical psychology, in organizational psychology, we also it has a wider application of this case study, because we used to, like when we were also students, we used to kind of observe different industries, their ups and downs, try to understand that their the causes or antecedents behind those those ups and downs, and then and also tried to find out the solution to those, to deal with those downs, and to like make that company a successful one, or effective one rather. So this is actually a case study, like its applicability, it's a wider applicability. We generally do think that it is in clinical psychology. It's not always in clinical psychology. It's wider application there in organizational social psychology. Okay, so this is a definition. This is a standardized definition. So if you read it, I guess you will be able to understand by now, because we have been discussing, and I'm getting so much of very much kind of thoughtful, insightful explanations from the students who are present. I mean, who are kind of participating in this course. I mean, participants, not always students, because there are many. Okay, so before we go to these steps of case study, I will come down to this, but then let me tell you, as I said, that there are types of case studies which are very important. I guess this slide is visible. Can anyone quickly confirm this? Okay. So the types of case study. So as I said, that case study could be single case study, it could be a multiple case studies, right? And now it also, this is one parameter, which is whether it is single case study or it's a multiple case study, right? Another parameter is that whether it is holistic or it is embedded. So now let me give you an example of that. It would be better for better understanding that that means we have, based on these two parameters, whether it is holistic or embedded, that is one parameter, and another parameter is it is single or multiple. Based on these two parameters, we have 4 quadrants, as I think these quadrants are visible. So this the first quadrant, where you have this single case study design, which is holistic, and the second parameter, which is that multiple case study design, but which is also holistic. Now the third one is the single case study design, which is embedded, and the fourth one is, the last one is that multiple case study design, which is embedded. I guess these 4 things are visible. May not be understood, but it is visible. Am I making sense?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Yes,
So
ma'am,
let
it's
me
visible.
Okay, so I have given the explanation in the next slide. So let me go to the next slide. If you have any queries later on, you can, I will address it. Okay, so the examples, as I said, that first we will talk about this single case study, which is holistic. And as per this sense, as its name implies, it will be definitely a single case. Suppose, as I said, case study is widely used in organizational psychology. Even if you are not very much familiar with this, you can say that, okay, maybe case study of a particular individual, right? Case study, I said case study of a particular individual. Now here I have given the example of organization for a better understanding, because many of you are a researcher, many of you are teacher over here. So what it is all about, it is the case study of a particular organization X. Okay, now the only one parameter or unit of analysis that the researcher of this particular case study, he or she is interested in assessing in depth the overall performance of that particular organization X. Suppose like your organization, the organization sir has like nurtured rather. Okay, so this particular organization, somebody is assessing the overall performance of this organization, right? So this one organization, sir's organization, and the overall performance is a unit. Am I making sense?
Ma'am, could you please repeat?
Yeah. Single case study, holistic. I said case study, if you go back, you will find that types of case study, there is two parameters. First two parameter, based on which there are four types. Okay, I'm explaining from the beginning so that you can understand. Okay, so first parameter is whether it is single or multiple, right? And second parameter is, second dimension is, that is holistic or embedded. Okay, now based on these two dimension, we have four different types of case study. First one is, we were discussing the first one, single case study design, which is holistic in nature, right? So the example of single case study design, which is holistic in nature, this is the thing. I think you can see my cursors. I'm moving my cursor over here. Can you see this?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so I'm going to the next slide so that you can better understand and relate it to this. I'm explaining this right now, this one. Okay, so what I said that single case study means, what is your idea of single case study? Studying in depth a particular organization. If I give a particular case, a particular entity, I have given an example, which is an organizational X. Right. So here you take any organization. Suppose, let me give you an example of University of Calcutta. Okay. So University of Calcutta is a particular, the entity that you are going to study, that particular entity. So this is going to be a single case study. You are assessing only University of Calcutta. Is this till now it is clear?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Now it is going to be holistic. I said single case study, holistic in nature. So I said that in case of holistic, the unit of analysis is only one. Am I making sense?
Ma'am, this
Yes.
unit of analysis, do we take this as a measure in every case study, or is it something you're using just for this example?
I'm sorry, I couldn't get your question. I mean, unit of analysis. Okay, let me tell you. This you will be you. Let me clarify. Then you can ask me question again. Unit of analysis is nothing but, it's a very technical term I have used, but it is nothing but that this particular unit or this particular aspect, I guess aspect would be the best word here. This particular aspect would be studied while you will be doing your case study. So what would be that particular aspect? That is an overall performance of University of Calcutta. So University of Calcutta is the one organization in which where you are studying only one particular aspect, which is overall performance. Am I making sense now?
Yes, ma'am, got it.
Got it? Okay. Now you
Yes,
can
ma'am.
done. Okay. Now second type is single case study, which is embedded. Okay. Now you can keep your organization constant, because here it is also single case study, but it is embedded in nature, right? Okay, embedded means that now you are going to analyze more than one aspect. Now it could be you are adding more aspect because it is embedded. Okay, so what are those aspects? I kept the first aspect constant. In addition to that, I have added one. In addition to that, there is one more, aspect, which is qualifications of employees. So now you are a researcher who will be conducting a case study. You will be taking up University of Calcutta only, but now you are going to assess. You are going to study their overall performance as well as the qualifications of the employees. So you have the previous one where you had only one aspect to be studied as a part of this case study. Here you have added one more aspect to it. Now you can add more here. Am I making sense?
Yes, ma'am.
Done? Okay.
Ma'am, can you just explain what is holistic and what is embedded?
Yes,
The
that's what
meaning.
Yes, okay. No, please do not take them as a kind of then in a literal sense. Okay, this is from a holistic is that unit of analysis is one. So the only one aspect is getting studied. Suppose, let me give you some more, better example, I guess. Suppose you are studying, let me take an example. Okay. Sir's organization is based on this, the principle of, Kavi Guru Rabindranath Tagore, right? So now we are going to study Rabindranath Tagore. Rabindranath Tagore is a one person, right? Here it is clear. Okay, so this is going to be a single case study. Now we are going to analyze in case study holistic, where in holistic we have to have one aspect to be studied as a part of the case study. So we are trying to understand Rabindranath Tagore's life like suppose Rabindranath Tagore's maybe what I'm trying to say, that his personal life, suppose, right? Am I clear to all of you? So this personal life could be one aspect, right? So we are only concentrating on the personal life. And
Okay,
we are doing it on Rabindranath Tagore. So Rabindranath Tagore is a one person, one entity, right? And only his personal life. Rabindranath Tagore viewed as this from his personal life experiences, right? Now, when we are adding, keeping Rabindranath Tagore constant, because this is going to be a next segment, which is going to be that case study embedded. Now, Rabindranath Tagore we are studying, but his personal life, and we have added one more dimension, maybe his, the contribution to the society, to the literature rather. Am I making sense now?
Yes, ma'am.
Got it? Okay.
Yes.
Okay, so this is going to be the second example, is going to be the embedded one, right? Okay, now shall I move on?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Now, multiple case studies, as we say, as its name implies, that this multiple case studies is analyzing two or, it is written here, you can see, two or more than two cases, right? Okay. And this is also, like in multiple case studies can also be divided into holistic and embedded. Now, what is this, like holistic case studies, multiple case studies, holistic? Here, we are taking more than one case, I mean, like cases or identities, right? So take the example which we gave, which was better understood, I guess, right? We are analyzing Rabindranath Tagore. Yeah. So, Kaji Nazrul Islam, right?
জীবনানন্দ দাস
Yes. Sorry. Hello.
poet জীবনানন্দ দাস
Jivanananda Das. Whatever. So that
হ্যাঁ
was okay. Done. Rabindranath Tagore, Kaji Nazrul Islam, Jivanananda Das. Right. So there are three cases, three different identity. Now the same thing could be in the form of an organizations, what I have written, right? Maybe University of Calcutta, Indian Statistical Institute, then West Bengal State University. Then, so this is going to be a multiple case studies. But then when it is holistic, we are only comparing or trying to understand that the overall performance of University of Calcutta, overall performance of Indian Statistical Institute, overall performance of West Bengal State University. Right? So this is one unit of analysis, one aspect is getting studied. Whereas in case of multiple case studies embedded, we are now going to analyze, we are taking, let me take your example, ma'am, that Jivanananda Das, Rabindranath Tagore, and Kazi Nazrul Islam. Now, their personal life, they as a, yeah, so their contribution to the literature. Okay, so you can add more and more analysis, I mean, aspect in this embedded one. But in case of holistic, you have to keep only one aspect to be studied, right? Right? Okay.
Yes,
let me give you another example. If any, maybe I think any kind of 1% doubt will get clarified now. Swati has given an example, right? That fire broke out, right? So her school, Swati's school, sorry, not Swati's school, but that particular school, another school, school A, school B, school C, right? So that is going to be a multiple case studies. Now, if it is going to be a multiple case studies holistic, then we can only think of the infrastructural facilities that we have in all these three different schools. So that means only infrastructural facilities we are going to study, but for all these three different schools. Right? But now, in case of multiple case studies embedded, we can take all these three different schools, as well as we can add couple of aspects in addition to this infrastructural facilities. Maybe infrastructural facilities would be one aspect. Second aspect could be that maintenance. Third aspect could be that awareness among employees. Now I guess it is clear, is it?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so this is the examples of case studies, different types of case studies. Okay, now let me just move on. I mean, go a little bit back so that we can, because as I said that I will be giving you one case study, a hypothetical case study, which you need to analyze and you need to, you need to come up with your own understanding of the case study. Okay, so let me quickly discuss these steps. And when you will be discussing your own part, you have to relate to these things. You have to, means it is my request to relate to these things, these steps, so that you can understand this is how we do the case study, the different steps of case studies. Am I clear? Yeah. So the first step is step 1. Who can explain the first step? Because I have got a very knowledgeable, participant. So who can explain the first step? And I have given the example of that as well, along with the steps. Anyone? Anyone? No one. I think, yeah, Amruta is talking, I guess, because, but not audible. If you are talking, I can see that.
No, ma'am. I'm not talking.
Okay, no, not an issue, not an issue. Anyone would like to, explain these steps with their own examples? Then I will give the examples which is here. You can give a try. Don't worry. It's not an exam.
Can I start, ma'am? I can just try
Yes.
once.
Yes, sure. Very good. Yeah.
So the first step is the determining the present status of the case or the cases. So if I take a
Correct.
particular case study, for example, like a case of autistic children or autistic
Yes,
child, okay. So
correct.
we will try to understand like what are the present status, or like whether he have done any kind of assessment before, or what are his like present problem, or what are the chief complaints, or what
Correct.
we could observe. As a suppose, if a psychologist is, or clinical psychologist is taking care of that particular case, then we will see what the person can observe.
Correct.
Like it can be a what kind direct observations, and that is the first step.
Correct.
Then we will
Then,
identify, if we go to the second step, that we will
Hmm.
try to identify the most probable antecedents of the cases, or
Hmm.
case or cases. So here we will try to understand, suppose what are the complaints which have been presented or what we have been observed. We will try to understand why is it so.
Correct. Very good.
So that
Mhm.
two steps. Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. So I will, thank you very much. If there anyone,
you.
ma'am, just 1 minute, before we go to the next one, I will show you the next, steps, and I am pretty much sure that you will be able to very good example and relate to those steps. But before that, anyone would like to, come up with their own views here? Okay, let us, if you have later on, we can also, go to the next one. Yeah.
Okay. Now,
Yeah.
the verification of the antecedent or hypothesis. So,
Mhm.
whatever we have observed, or what are the complaints we can see, based on that, we are able to understand the problem, the antecedents, right?
Mm,
After that, what
mm,
we will try to do,
mm,
whatever we have observed, whether that observation is true or not, or whether we
mm,
will try to find out, whether we will try to understand more about the past history of that particular child. For example, his like the early ages, what happened, do he have eye contact at
mm,
the age of 2 or 3 years, did he really responds to his parents, or did he really responds to the sound? So like that kind of things we will try to understand the past history of that particular case.
Yes.
So
Right.
yeah, so that one, and then we will provide the diagnosis and the remedial measures. So what are the steps we need to take care to improve
Right.
his
Okay. Right.
problems
So remedial
and
measures.
these things. Yeah, and then after that we keep on like in the diagnosis and remedial measures, we could be able to provide individualized education plan, so like that we will try to come up with. And then after the last step is the follow up the case, right?
Hmm.
So it
Hmm.
is not like that we will see the case and we are giving the interventions and then we are not following up. So definitely we'll follow up the case. For example, let me like in the suppose the person is scored in that particular case, he have let me in the car score, let me assume that he have scored a higher kind of a moderate score. Okay,
Correct.
but if we give him a holistic approach or the proper remedial measures, so when we will try to follow up the case, we will try to understand, or we will try to know in that particular assessment, we will try to know that he is scoring in the lower side of the moderate score, because
Correct.
of the interventions. That's what
Hmm.
we can follow up the case, and that is why follow up the case is important to plan up the next remedial measures.
Correct.
That's
Very good. Very good.
yeah.
Excellent. And
Thank you.
the last one is like
Yeah.
just preparing the report, as you
Yeah.
already have mentioned it several times. Yeah. So please go ahead.
Yes.
I mean, thank you very much for, like such a lovely explanations.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
So,
this is, yeah. Tell us. Go ahead.
okay. So when we prepare the report, so there are some things which we need to remember. Whoever we would be able to convince the mother, like when we will, or suppose we are referring this case to a special rehabilitation center, we will have some kind of, we will try to make the report, and we will also make the report to understand. Suppose every time we cannot tell like the complex, like everyone will not understand the the complex term or the medical or the those like what term, those the technical term. So we will make a report in such a way that that report will help the other person also to take care of that child. Okay, and that is very important point in here. And definitely in that preparing, suppose it's in a case of autism, then we will write a kind of a, in the case we will write that in the present situations or the present time the person have, the child have scored this much, these things we will write in such a way, because like in the future when it proper intervention has been given, proper remedial measures has been given, then we can see some of the improvements. So when we prepare the report, the word which we are going to use it, or we will make it in such a way that it is easy for the other person to understand. So whoever will take care of the child, because like most of the time we expect that the child used to stay, or it has been taken care by the informal like group, like for example parents or the family,
Family.
so
Other
yeah,
members of the family.
yeah, so
Or
that way we
sometimes
will
those
prepare.
person who are very specialized in giving care to that child,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Most
So, for
probably.
example, like if the child, we definitely, the clinical psychologist or the professionals will refer this particular case to a rehab center or some special schools, So, that report, if the person, the reader or the person who will be taking care, even if it's a formal caregivers also, they will read the case and accordingly they can take care of that particular child according to the suggestions which is given by the professional. That's what.
Right.
Yeah.
And anything else? Or you
No,
have
ma'am.
done a very good job. So the last part, what we need to keep it in mind, many a times when, especially in this type of cases, on any type of cases rather, I mean, so best to the best of my knowledge, that the last part also we need to keep it in mind, that we have to present our case studies in chronological order so that it would be very easier for the readers to read and connect to
Yeah.
this my case,
Yeah.
right?
Right
So,
from the
so
history and everything, right from the present history, present
correct.
complaints and everything. Yes. Yes, true.
Right,
Okay.
right. So
Thank
it
you,
should
ma'am.
be.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you
Thank
very
you,
much.
ma'am.
First of all, you have given a very good explanation of this entire thing. And when now we will be having, because I will, give you one case study, and then rest of
Yeah.
the things discussed in the after that, activity. So I
Okay.
guess you all won't mind anything if I give you the activity. I guess you will be
No.
taking it very, taking it up as a very interesting thing. So I will be giving you a case study, which is again a hypothetical one, and this such a lovely explanation she has given, and we should be giving a big hand for her first of all. I mean, we all have to. Okay,
Thank
so
you,
this is
ma'am. Thank you.
so, and now, then when we are, like I will be giving the hypothetical case study, then you will be try to, relate to these steps. It's not that mandatorily you always need to write down the factors behind that particular case. If you have some query, you can tell me, because I will be giving the activity to you all as well. So what I'm asking you to do, that the way ma'am has given a very clear description, that it's like very crystal clear in front of us. When we have certain cases, when we have the data, how are we going to follow the different steps, right? So right now, when I will be giving you the case study, what you need to do, you have to um, uh, relate to these steps. You may be writing the way she explained it. Okay, it may not be always writing the factors, or maybe you can write down that, okay, there are identifying. Suppose, let me tell you, when I give you the case study, you will be writing, suppose, determining the present status of the case. So, suppose this is a case study on a slow learner. Ma'am has given the example of that is an autistic child, right? So you no need to relate that different the present status of the slow learner, but you can write down that, okay, now in the first step we have to determine the present status of the slow learner, and then what are the characteristics, what are the assessment, maybe through direct observation, maybe through psychological tests. So this is how you need to write down this activity. I mean, do this activity. Am I making sense to all of you? It no need to worry ki, I don't know what are the assessment test for slow learner. So I'm not teaching here, I'm not discussing here the slow learner thing, assessment of slow learner. I'm trying to give you, I will be giving you a hypothetical case study, where you have, I mean, case where you have to study it and you have to relate to these different steps. So I will rather tell you that you first make a note of these different steps so that you can, relate to these steps and giving some hypothetical examples. Am I clear to all of you what you're supposed to do in this activity?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so please write down these steps in the somewhere, or I can keep these steps open in front of you, right? But then all the steps cannot be opened in front of you at a single point of time because they're in a different slides. So if you just simply write down that this is a step 1, determining the status of the case or cases, right? The second one is identifying the probable antecedent, probable causes of the case or cases. Second one. So if you just simply write down this thing, then you will be able to relate to the case study which I will be giving you. Am I clear?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. If it is written, that let me know if I will go to the next slide, so that you can write down, and then I will give you the case study so that you can analyze and make a brief we can do a brief activity on that. Maybe I will give you some time to prepare that thing. Is it written, or maybe is it stored in your short-term memory somehow?
Yeah, done, ma'am. If
Done.
others are done, then we can move to the next slide.
Okay. I guess they have. Okay, so if there is anyone else need to be, need the slides to be open, or I will go to the next slide. Should I go to the next slide? Anyone?
Yes, ma'am. We can move to the next slide.
Yeah, so the steps of case study, the third one is a verification of antecedent. You can very, short form, you can use this while writing it down, but you need to relate to these steps because ma'am has nicely given an explanation. I mean, it was really, very much kind of elaborative, illuminating. Steps 3 is a verification of antecedent. Now you need to verify the antecedent, like, like with the help, which includes that, like history taking, case history taking, interviewing, observation. So somebody said that fellow is slow learner. So we should not be relying on that, but we have to verify these things on our own, that whether I have to observe these things and I have to use this multi-method approach. It's not that only one, test I have given and I have diagnosed the child that, okay, he or she is an autistic, or he or she is just a slow learner. So we should be using it, using different methods, and be very, very careful while verifying this antecedent or hypothesis. Diagnosis and the remedial measures. This is just simply suggesting that some remedial measures, if you know a little bit, or if you just relate to this, that some remedial measures can be taken, maybe diagnosis based on that causes that happened to that person, causes of slow learner or something like that. And then the fifth one is follow-up. She has nicely given this kind of, if the kind of diagnosis and remedial measures are positive, then we have to go ahead with this. We have to follow up. And other, if it is negative, this part is not here, but if it is negative, somehow it doesn't work, then what do? We have to think from the very beginning that maybe maybe the diagnosis is wrong, or maybe this remedy that we have suggested, that was wrong. So we have to think in this way. Okay, should I go to the next one?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, and the last one is just preparing the report. So it's just, you need to write down, you don't need to prepare any report right now, but you need to write down that preparing the report, keeping the report, the presenting the case in chronological order, also the presenting the case as a kind of, if it is several cases, suppose, then it should be coming as a different chapters. It's not like you are combining all those cases, because each and every case is unique. We, believe in that. So if you are presenting 3 cases, like if you are using this kind of multiple case studies, right? So you have to suppose the example that we have given, University of Calcutta, Indian Statistical Institute, and West Bengal State University. So when you are presenting them as a chapter, in a different sections, right? So this is the overall performance of Calcutta University. This is the overall performance of ISI. This is the overall performance of WBSU WebSU. So this is how you need to mention why I will be giving you this. But don't worry, I will give you the single case study, not a multiple case study. Okay, I think this till here. Is there any problem in understanding? Anyone? Anyone?
No, ma'am, it's clear.
Okay. Okay. So now we will be, moving to the next segment, which is the case study I will be giving you. Okay, there is one. Okay, thank you. Thank you, Swati. Okay. The case study which I will be giving you is that this is the case study. Can you see this?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So I'm keeping these things on for all of you, so that you no need to, now let me tell you, you no need to copy the case study. It is in front of you. It will be there in front of you. Okay. The only thing that or you can just make a screenshot of that, or you can click a picture of that. That is okay. I mean, for your understanding or for your convenience. Okay. I will also give this case study there in the, I will keep this case study in front of you, so that you don't need to copy it, but you can read it, and you can relate this case study to the different steps which I have suggested. Okay, is that clear now? So you will be getting 5-6 minutes to do that, even like 10 minutes, not an issue. But then you come up with this, I will like you do it, and then come up with this, and then we will have a little bit of discussion on that, and then we will go to the other segment. Is that okay? Hello, is that okay?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. So I'm keeping it in front of you all. Okay. Right now it is 9:10. So we will be, discussing these things maybe in next 5-6 minutes. So take your time, try to complete. And if not even completed, don't worry. You can, like what are the steps that you have touched upon? Try to complete those steps only, so that others, those who already going to complete these things, we can ask them as well to complete the case studies and all. Give us a complete version of this. Okay, so at least try to delay to first couple of stages, and otherwise expected that you will be doing the entire thing. But otherwise, if not possible, try to do the first couple of stages as well, at least. Okay. Done. Hello. Hello. No. It's okay. I will be. I have given you 5 minutes, 5-6 minutes. No issues. No need to hurry up. Any problem? Anyone facing any problem in doing this? Okay, let me check the chat box. Okay, so please go ahead, no problem, and no need to hurry up. You have some time in hand, so complete it. At least few of you will complete it. Others may be listening to them and then complete it later on. No issues. Can we start our discussion now? Okay. Yes, so I got the answer from the response from few participants. So let us start our discussion. So we'll volunteer. Who will volunteer? Who will volunteer?
Ma'am, I can do it, but I don't know whether I wrote was right or not.
No, it's okay, no problem. Don't even think it's everything should be right or should be judged. Okay, I I mean, tempting things are also very important. Okay, so yeah, can we discuss it?
Okay. So the step one is determining the present status of case. So
Mhm,
in the present status, the person is depressed, seeming to be depressed, and she was
mhm,
found by co-workers to be depressed. So we can either
mhm,
administer a depression inventory or some other questionnaire
mhm.
to find her level of depression.
Right.
And then okay, second is identifying the most probable antecedent. So
Mm-hmm,
it's that her co-workers and her family is supportive. So it may be the nature of the job. She may be burned out. So
mm-hmm,
even she feels that her job is stupid and useless. So it may be related to her over. I mean, she is working in a hospital. It may be due to her overworking or something else. So
mm-hmm,
the nature of the job the considered to be the antecedent. And
mm-hmm,
step three is identifying the most probable antecedent, no, verification of the antecedents. So
mm-hmm,
because her job was very uh, heavy for her, she became ignoring her shifts. So it may like, confirm that the job itself is the cause.
mm-hmm,
And diagnosis is she was diagnosed with major depression. So
mm-hmm,
and since she has suicidal thoughts, so she can be administered with antidepressants. And
mm-hmm,
follow-up can be like every weekly once or something, because her severity is very high.
mm-hmm.
And the step seven is we prepare a case report in the chronological order of her symptoms.
Hmm, hmm, hmm. Right. Excellent. So why have you thought that it is not only the correct one? It's excellent one. Not even correct. It's excellent. And the way you have related to each and every steps. So that yeah. Also try to kind of like highlight on that. When we are trying to highlight on that the antecedent of that thing. So you have nicely mentioned these things. Okay. So can we go ahead with some other case study? Some other explanation, if not case study, explanations. Just give me just 1 minute. Let me just charge my laptop. It's like to charge this thing. Just 1 minute.
Hello, Amruta, please you encourage all the students.
Yes, sir.
Yes, I'm back. Yeah. So anybody else would like to say anything else? Anyone? Add something, or maybe some of a different perspective if you want to share something.
Kakoli,
Anyone?
Shati, please share.
Yes, no
Okay,
problem.
okay,
You can.
Shati.
You can.
Yes,
You
okay.
can.
You can write in chat box.
Yes, yes. Meanwhile, if somebody network is okay and able to speak, if you can, while who is writing? I guess Swati is writing, I guess. Yeah, Swati is writing in the chat box, so we can follow it. So Swati, you no need to take such pain key writing the entire thing. You just relate to those steps, and that's like you don't need to even say write down the steps exactly, though it is there in the slide. So you can write down step 1, this is what I can do. Step 2, this is what I can do. So just like quickly you can write down. You don't need to take so much of pain of writing the entire thing. Okay. Yeah, so yes, very good. Yes. So determining the status, so let me read it out for everyone. Determining the present status of Shometa after experiencing suicidal thoughts and change of behavior that was taken to a psychiatrist and was diagnosed with the major depressive disorder. Right. Second was is that identification of, and you have quickly written. Very good, Swati. Identification is that, and identification of the antecedents. So the antecedents of could be the stress, could be the environment, work overload, or maybe the family related issues, etc., etc. Verification of antecedents, maybe you can check, we can observation asking these things from her co-workers. Also, Swati, you can add these things that you can ask, you talk to talk to her co-workers as well, observations. You can talk to her manager, right? So you can check that thing, and her family members as well, whether that actually she is having this kind of symptoms or not, and the causes which we are thinking that may be attributed to her present situations, we are going to verify them, right? So you can add that as well. Diagnosis, the remedial measures. After that, after the diagnosis, she will be assigned and the proper remedial measures such as therapy, any antidepressant based on the severity of her situations, or it could be any kind of therapeutic technique, maybe CBT or say something like this. It can be also used. Right, and final report will be prepared based on the chronology, and based on the highlighting those things like the major antecedents and the major antecedents which actually can be attributed to her present situation. Very good, excellent. Okay, so
why suicidal thoughts came?
Yes. Why does
why
this
suicidal thoughts came?
Yeah, yes.
That is the main issue.
That is the main issue. So yes, sir, please. I'm sorry.
Dear students, can you tell why the suicidal thoughts came? Suicidal thoughts, that is related to the feeling of meaninglessness.
Right. Emptiness, meaninglessness of this thing.
Okay. Yeah, so she has observed that the job seems stupid and useless.
Right.
That means it has no significance particularly.
Right.
So the suicidal thought, because
right.
this part is very, very important.
Right.
Okay, so maybe there will be some job burnout. That possibility is there. We do not know. But only thing that is the meaninglessness. When you find the meaningful in life, then you want to survive. But when you find that is the life is totally meaningless, then you don't want to survive. Maybe that is the reason. So you have to focus that one. And that will be the beauty of this case study.
Right, sir. Thank you, sir. Yes, so that also we as an sir, yes, you wanted to say anything else as well. Thank you for making this session much more lively. Okay, so sir said, yeah, as sir said that the suicidal thoughts, which like behind which one reason, very prominent reason, could be that meaninglessness, because we have this theories. If you like, I think you know that the job characteristics model, so which also talks about this meaningfulness of the job, the identifying with the job, right? So autonomy that you have, that that meaningfulness, the more you are identifying with the job, that will be motivating to you. So here, this complete lacking of this entire thing, and that is why main thing, like she experienced this suicidal, like she had that suicidal ideation and all. Okay, so now with this, we'll move on. And then if there is anyone, we can, if you would like to share something, you can stop me anytime, you can let me know. Okay.
Yeah, so the students, you can understand that is in industrial field, the clinical psychology is applicable.
Yes.
Okay, Madam has pointed out that one, because it is the Hackman and Oldham's theory of job characteristics.
Right.
Madam has pointed out that one. Okay,
Yes.
so please, you can find out the job satisfaction theory. And one theory is the Hackman and Oldham's theory of job characteristics. Madam has pointed out that.
Yes, sir. Thank you. Yes. And sir, can we go ahead?
Yeah, you can now continue.
Okay. Oh, yes. So this the basic thing which already we discussed. Yeah. So very quick things I would like to tell you. In this case studies, we also talk about there is one concept that understanding the boundaries of case studies, right? So here it is very simple thing that importance of boundary we have to understand, because the researchers boundaries, because this boundaries also help the researcher to define that what will be included and what will not be included in the study. I repeat, the boundaries will help the researchers to understand that what would be included and what will not be included in the study. So that, like suppose, sir has rightly pointed out this thing, and okay, in this particular case study, the first and foremost important thing that we need to keep it in mind, that the main cause behind this thing. So we have to concentrate on that. We have to concentrate on that, on that concept of meaninglessness, what sir said, right? That had pointed out already. So this is very much important. From there, because meaninglessness of the particular task, particular job, and then from there we need to study, and we are not going to include some other segment. Rather, we have to concentrate on that what we are actually studying. So here there is a different example in this particular slide, that suppose a researcher wants to study something there in the occurring in the neighborhood area, and in a particular time span. Suppose there are some antisocial activities occurring in the neighborhood areas during late night. Suppose this is an example. So you have to concentrate. You have to know what are your boundaries. You cannot you cannot study, you cannot assess the things which are beyond that particular time span, like late night. There are certain antisocial activities occurring in a particular neighborhood. So you cannot generalize it. You have to concentrate on that particular neighborhood and a particular time span, so that you can understand that what exactly happening, what are the causes behind that, and what is the present situation. I guess you understand what I'm trying to say. So we should be knowing that what are the boundaries of a particular case study and case studies. So this is very important. And we, as a researcher, first we need to fix those boundaries. What we call in clinical psychology, we have a very mandatory section in clinical psychology, and everywhere these days, paper publications, sir can throw some light on that. Okay, so that that inclusion and exclusion criteria we have to first identify, right? So this is how we have to have our certain boundaries. We cannot study anything, everything, whatever we want, right? So this is how, this is the main thing that we have to keep it in mind. This is known as the boundaries of a case study. And the case study sampling, it could be majorly it is, let's say, compared to quantitative studies, qualitative research method, and especially this case studies are small in number, small size sample size. Case studies, like, because we are dealing with these unique cases, right? Suppose I have given an example of this breast cancer among male people, I mean among males. So it is very, or a particular type of cancer of patients to be studied. So we are going to study those unique cases And then almost, like, I mean, more than 99% of the case studies sample is purposive. Because you cannot take up, sir, before this session begins, this sir was talking about this random sampling and all. So I just, like heard that. So it's very, a kind of very informative thing that that was discussed before this session begins. But it's, like, case studies cannot randomly choose people, because we are conducting this case studies for a particular purpose. Right. So for this particular case, for as nicely, like very nicely pointed out, that this particular case study is very unique because of its unique characteristics, which is related to this meaninglessness of life or meaninglessness of the work. There is no meaning attached to this work. Shomita doesn't find anything. But this is a very purposive, many a times it is a purposive sampling. And case studies questions mainly what we are, you have to have certain questions in mind. So we generally do think that, like how it starts with this. I have given few examples. It can be many. So how, what, and why. So these few things are very important. That, as you say, that how do you feel? So how does Shomita feel? What are the experiences led Shomita to feel like this? Like meaninglessness of work or etc. What Sarah already pointed out, and why do you think that is going to be very important? Sarah already pointed out and related to a motivational theory of motivation, job characteristics model, like Hackman and Oldham study theory, right? So this is we need to have certain questions in our mind, and we have to address those questions in order to get a better understanding of the case. The case study, the data collection, mainly, as many of the participants already mentioned it, so I'm not going to the detail of that, but it is mainly, it's interviewing, and it's, it could be structured or unstructured interviews based on that, the research, the questions that you have developed in, or you have it in your mind. The interviews could be FGDs. It could be when FGDs are very much important when you have, like when you can gather people from similar background and for a discussion on a particular topic, very specific topic. You can have certain archival data as well. So when we do some case studies there in the field of organizational psychology, we do some this archival data as well. We go by that as well. Some documents, some artifacts, some enriched, easily available, accessible materials that we can also do. We can also refer to. Some documents, if you have some, like if you are referring to some terms or certain case studies of some antisocial personalities, so you can have certain document papers. Okay, direct observations, participant observation, you can be a part of that particular observation, observation, and you can observe that person being a part of that group. And also some, like physical artifacts, like some finding some tools, as many of the participants already mentioned, that finding some tools, instruments can also be used for research. The structuring part of the case studies, I guess we already mentioned it. So, and you have a better explanation than you explained it better than it is written here. So I will quickly, leaving this part, let me just go to this. Okay, so reporting the case study, I will come to this one later on, because there's, this entire institute is based on a certain principles. So I cannot wrap up without taking few lines from Kavi Guru Rabindranath Tagore's lines. So I will come to this later on and ask you to explain from your own perspective. Reporting a case study, as many of you already mentioned it. So let me tell you that when we gather information, we have to create a profile of a subject. Subject here means the case, the identity, the entity, not identity, entity that we are going to study, right? So for this particular case, if you are relating to this, if you can, like Shomita is the case, so you can prepare certain profile of Shomita, right? And now you can take some help from this records from the office, and then personal records, interviews, observation, etc. You can prepare, and now you can, you have to identify whether it is a single subject case study, whether it is multiple multiple case studies, etc., you have to identify the type of the case study, and then you have to give the information of the case in detail. And there are many things we have to talk about: this age, gender, employment status, health status, family members, relationship status, family history, drug, alcohol history, anything or not, challenges in life goals, coping skills, strengths, weaknesses, etc., etc. Why all these things are important? Because all these things, as Sir said, that all these things, all this psychological and demographic information are important in explaining a person's behavior in a particular situation. So we cannot separate it out. You cannot separate me out from my family backgrounds and from my professional backgrounds, etc. So you cannot say that, okay, Rita is that individual, or separated from this everything. So you cannot, right? So we are they're very much into their system. So we have to be viewed from that perspective only. Okay, so from a holistic perspective, as I said, that case study is holistic in nature, so we have to think of that. Okay, and just a moment. Yeah, so this is as you already mentioned that the symptoms, the problems needs to be described, choosing and then analyzing the data. So suppose like you have arranged the data, you have arranged the case studies, the problems, and the antecedents, and then in a chronological order. So now you are going to analyze them and then choose a certain treatment. As somebody said, that this we have to go for certain treatment, or maybe some consultation with the psychiatrist or something like this. And then the treatment goals we need to define. As a researcher, we need to define the treatment goals. And then the some goals may include this eliminating some symptoms entirely, or maybe some treatment reducing some symptoms, and then sometimes it includes the coping strategies a person is using or adopting in order to return to the normal track. So all these things will come under this treatment goals. So that you have to determine it, you have to monitor it as well, and you have to mention these things in the discussion section as well. Okay, and this is the structure of the case study. So when you search some case studies in the internet, you will find that this is the structure of the case studies. Let me tell you, because many of you maybe will be writing some case studies later on. So you have to follow this structure. I guess it is very much clear. So this is title. You have to give a title of the case study, which will depict the overall purpose of the case study. Okay, and the abstract, the executive summary, the introduction, which highlights the reasons, as you all have already explained, that which highlights the reason, means the antecedents and all. And then the hypothesis. Okay, sorry, that spelling would be hypothesis, SES, not SIS. So it could be hypothesis or hypothesis. So it is SIS or SES, whatever. So you have to formulate the hypothesis, and then method that you are going to use, and the results that which after gathering some data from a different sources using multi-method approach, and then analyzing these things, and the references and acknowledgement at the end. This is all about this case studies. And let me go back and let me have certain some better explanations from you all, what you think, because I cannot wrap up this particular discussion without uh, kind of uttering few lines from Kavi Guru Rabindranath Tagore, that is, কোথাও আমার হারিয়ে যাওয়ার নেই মানা মনে মনে মেলে দিলেন গানের সুরের এই ডানা মনে মনে. So when you hear these two lines, what are those things that comes to your mind, and how can you explain these two things, which will help you to be a better researcher? Okay, so how you need to explain from your own understanding. However, there is no correct or no incorrect answer. So can you please explain and help us to better understand these two lines? And let me have a different perspective of all of yours. Okay. Okay. We need to, analyze these things. Okay. So it is more of a like, like when you are going to, I mean, it's more of a, it's like, because these lines are so much, let me tell you, so much vivid. So it's like something that we like it's a kind of openness, right? So we do not have any kind of I mean, we do not have any boundaries. What Rabindranath Tagore wanted to say, that we do not have any boundaries. We can go anywhere. We can, like we can so called that we can um, explore anything. We do not have any boundaries. We have this, wings. We have that imaginary wings, that where we can,
It's kind of
go
free bird.
anywhere. Kind of a free bird. It we can kind of imaginary wings, that we can go anywhere. We do not have any limitations. We cannot restrict ourselves anywhere. So that is what this, that and it's like we can also kind of extend our love through our songs. Songs means it's a kind of, that's the gesture basically. It's not a song typically, it's a gesture. So we are actually free bird. We do not have any kind of limitations. We can have the, imaginary wings. We can go anywhere. So after, what could I say? After hearing these two lines, what is the first thing that comes to your mind? Why have I written in terms of in this particular case study? If you can relate, I mean, is this I mean, definitely it's not a, literal translation, but I have tried my best to translate, because, like, it's the kind of free bird. It's that I do not have a, any kind of, bindings, any kind of, restrictions. I can fly anywhere. I have the imaginary wings. It's like that. So with that, what the things that comes to you? Am I making some sense?
Can I try? But I don't understand like properly, but I can just I can just try
Yeah,
it.
just 1 minute. Yeah, just 1 minute. So Sri Lakshmi, let me ask her first. When I will come to you, Kapil ma'am. Sri Lakshmi, have you understood this? What we are trying to give you this explanation of this?
Yeah, ma'am. What you said, I understood.
Yes. So it's right. So it is. I can spread love. It's I can, like I'm a free bird, as ma'am said, Kakuli ma'am said, and I have an imaginary wings so that I can, like spread love among others, and with the help of my songs, with the, like the songs are like a kind of spreading life, sorry, spreading love in terms of that. So now, yeah, yes, Kakuli ma'am.
Yes, ma'am. I can just try, ma'am, but I'm not very good in this. Yeah, but what I
No.
have understood from these two lines, like
Hmm.
like you know, like as a human being or as a social being, like we have some kind of social restrictions in this particular world, but our mind or our heart plays something a very different way. Like it's when we are free from all like that complexity in this world, then we will try to explore or we will try to spread love, that basically it's trying to focus on the positive aspects of the human beings. Like when we were being free or we are not being restricted with many things, we will be able to spread love and peace and harmony in all over the surroundings. That's what I could understand from this two particular line and with your explanation. Yes, ma'am. So I might be
Yes.
not able to understand the very literal meaning of this particular this sentence, but somewhere I can relate it because I am the second line I can understand, but the first line it's been very difficult for me to understand. But based on that thing, I'm trying to come up with the meaning. Yeah. So
First line
it's
also
we
you
can
have.
Yeah, it is just telling about the freedom, like, when we are free, like when we are not restricted, when we don't have any kind of demands in our life, when we don't have any kind of societal pressures. It is also speaking about the norms or values which we have, like, it's just about our mind, how we perceive it. But our mind is in such a way, we love to be like a free bird, we want to be freedom. And if it's there, then definitely, we have a imaginary kind of a things that we can fly or we can spread love everywhere. That's the thing, like, we will always, human beings or social beings are such a like, creatures in this world, that actually they love to spread love and peace. But due to
Right.
some kind of environmental or the societal pressures, we cut turn
Mhm.
out into something different. That's what I feel like this two line is explaining. Yes, ma'am. Yeah, thank
Very
you,
good.
ma'am.
Yes, thank you. And also, I would like to add something, but if there is anyone would like to add, I would be happiest one. But I would like to say, after such a nice explanation, let me tell you a couple of things that ma'am said that second line, though it's wonderfully explained, ma'am also explained the first line as well. But then she said that some little bit understand difficult in understanding the first line. So I would like to say that like when we think that as like taking ma'am's perspective as well, when we think that we are free and we are a free bird, so we have a kind of imaginary being, the dana, that is being, right? So we can we can our mind is free, so we can um, uh, do something far more better, right? Something which is which I always wanted to do, and we can do that uh, compared to when we have certain restrictions and social obligations rather. So we have
Yeah,
many
true.
obligations, many social any in social restrictions. So
Yeah.
we can extend our love, we can extend our you know we can be in the lap of nature, right? And we can kind of identify with the nature, and that would be more and also and thinking us as a kind of doing anything everything, which I always wanted to, or always I love to be. So this is how these two lines explains these two lines explain, suggest, and I have given these two lines so that it is related to this case study. Tagore's, songs, novels, everything is related to each and every aspect of psychology. This is
Mm.
related to case study. Why have I thought? You correct me if I'm wrong, but then I thought I started by saying that case study includes this holistic approach, and it is an emic one. It is your individual thing. So when we are talking about
Mm.
that, I think I'm free, because you cannot determine whether I'm free or not, because with the same case
Mm.
study also Shomita then so nicely explained it ki, then Shomita thinks that this is an worthless job or meaningless rather, right? So then she started feeling that okay, I mean somehow I will die, or this suicidal ideation comes to her mind. This is very important, and that's why as a researcher we have to be very free in understanding the thing beyond all these social obligations,
Mm.
right? We cannot say that
Yeah.
okay,
We
something
should
that
be
happened,
like
yeah,
non-biased and these things
not
also, no?
biased,
Like we
and
have to
free from those
observe it.
biasness, and free from those rigidity. So I cannot tell you that okay,
Yes.
what happens to you cannot tell me as a researcher what happens to my life. It's the same thing. Maybe the
Mm.
symptoms are similar, but the same antecedent there in the somebody else's life. So that is why
Yeah.
that is the beauty of case study, and that is why I thought of. You correct me if I'm wrong, or maybe, but I thought of that these two lines exactly going with the concept of case studies of
Yeah.
I mean, two lines of Tagore's,
And when we,
these two Tagore's lines written by Tagore,
yeah.
right? So that is what I have given these two lines.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah.
True. Like, I also totally agree that the researchers should not be very rigid when we are working with the qualitative. So there is also, ma'am, the concept of insider and outsider, observations and these things. So,
Epidemic approach.
yeah, so we should not suppose we are studying about one particular community or one particular case. We should not think like, if suppose I am the insider of the community, I should not be biased. if I'm
Yeah.
outside of the community also, I should not be biased. So
Right.
we should be free, whatever it's there, we should see accordingly. Yes.
Right. And
Yeah.
also, we should be free from all this, as you said, all these assumptions, all this biasness,
Assumptions.
and it
Yeah.
cannot be generalized. That's what I started
Yeah.
by. I mean, always
General.
try to spread this information to everyone that you should not be generalizing. It is not a quantitative study. It is not a
Yeah.
significance of case. It is not significance of ANOVA. That is also
Yeah.
important. I'm
True.
not demeaning those things, but this is something, this is a kind of something which is a beauty of for researchers, a
Yeah.
researcher's beauty, your beauty basically. And you should be judging each and every case as a unique one, as also free from all your biasness. Open up your, like this imaginary wing of
Mm.
imagination rather, and
Mm-hmm.
you have to, freely, analyzing the thing so that you are going to get this actual scenario of an
Yeah.
individual. So it cannot be generalized. Same thing cannot be for me, you, and everyone, 10 participants over here. So it is difficult to,
Mm.
like restrict yourself or go by any kind of preconceived notion. Okay,
Yeah.
and
True.
also I thank you. And
Mm.
also I would like to all of you, that's with this it's a small thing, small exercise, which maybe when I will be having another session with you, that is on 13th, if I'm not wrong. So the same time, I would rather request you, because first maybe couple of minutes we can spend on this case study, so that I can understand ki, you have understood me, rather what I taught I won't say, because I haven't taught anything, because you have told me so many things. Only thing I would like to say that if you just read this, many of you know these things, but if there is anyone who doesn't know these things, this the Rabindranath, Rabindranath Tagore's Chandalika as a psychological play, right? So there are three characteristics of Chandalika: Prakriti, Anand, and Prakriti's mother. If you know that, right? Anybody knows this? I guess you know.
I have heard about it, but I have not got an opportunity to read it. Yeah.
Okay, so that's what I'm saying. It's a, this wonderful play. I mean, I'm telling you, not only this, there are so many, and
Yeah.
almost not so many, almost all, all the, the novels, poems of Tagore, songs of Tagore, they are having psychological meaning associated to that. So if you just read, I'm just requesting all of you with sir's, permission. Sir, may I request some the participants?
Now the time is over, Rita.
Yes,
Um,
yes.
so
Not
I
now,
think
sir.
okay,
So
later
not
on,
now.
definitely. Yeah,
In
yeah,
the
yeah.
next class, the beginning of the class, we can have this kind of warm-up sessions, so that we can
Sure,
connect
sure.
to what is taught in this class. So just
Yeah,
we will
yeah,
just
yeah.
explain the characteristics of that.
I think
So that,
students have understood the importance of this particular two statements. It is very
Yes.
important in case of the qualitative research. You are totally
Yes.
free to think. Okay.
Yes.
So
yes,
you are totally free bird. You are just flying over the ocean, and suddenly you find some interesting feature. So you have to concentrate on that particular feature, why it happens, what are the underlying reasons.
yes,
And there is no correct and there is no incorrect things. Nothing is there. You are
hmm,
totally free bird. Okay.
yes,
Another important part, that is this type of case study, what Madam has shown to you, the suicidal thoughts came. So what will be the treatment strategy from the Ravindric psychotherapy point of view? That will be very interesting. So if I get chance later on, then I will discuss that issue.
yes,
From
sir.
the
Sure,
point
sir.
of view
Yeah.
of Ravindric psychotherapy, how do you treat this case?
Yes.
Yes,
Okay.
sir.
Yeah, that
Hmm,
will be very interesting. You will learn.
hmm,
It's a very interesting case. Madam has
There are
shown you.
some songs, yes. There are some songs which will help them, sir. If I'm not wrong, there are some
Yeah.
songs of Tagore, many songs, but maybe "Aalo Keri Jharna Dharaye Dhuiye Dao," kind of, right? So that
Mhm.
song also can help that person to drain out those negative thoughts and then kind of build up certain positive thoughts as well. Or sir can always tell us something more interesting. So this is not for today's exercise. That's I have leave up to this the participants that if they can do it in the next class, maybe the beginning of the class, or just a kind of warm-up session, what we discussed today's session. So that's it from my end. That's it.
Thank you, Rita. Very nicely you have covered, and you have related Ravindric psychotherapeutic approach also. This is very good. And you have related this Rabindra Sangit and how Rabindra Sangit is related to the qualitative research methodology, specifically in case of the case study. That is very nice.
Thank
And
you. Yeah,
I
we have
am
learned it from
thankful
you.
to all my students because the students are asking so many questions. So without question, teacher cannot teach. That is the main thing because teachers are also learning from the students. So you have asked many questions. I like it very much. You always ask the question, whatever comes to your mind.
Yes.
Okay, thank you, everybody.
Thank
Yeah,
you,
yeah.
ma'am. Thank you, sir.
Thank you so much. Thank
It
you
was a
all.
wonderful session, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you very much. Acha, I guess, sir, hello, sir.
Yes.
Yes, sir. Actually, Sri Lakshmi has a few doubts. So,
Sure,
uh,
sure. Sri, you can ask. She is a very good student.
mm,
Yeah, Sri Lakshmi, you can ask.
I just want to ask that
okay, meanwhile, let me stop sharing. Hmm.
yeah, it is related to the PPT. Yeah, in the steps of the case study,
Hmm.
the step 4 and 5, the diagnosis, remedial measures, and follow-up, that is usually for clinical cases, right? So in case study, we also do case studies of organizations and other stuff. So how do you
Hmm.
relate to that steps?
No, if don't even think that's what I started by saying from the very beginning. You were saying you were talking about this. Which steps? Tell me. Can you please come again, Sri Lakshmi?
I
Just
think she has the problem that is the case history and case
Mhm.
study. What is the
Okay.
difference between the two?
Okay.
Maybe she has this type of problem. Am I right, Sri Lakshmi?
yes, no, in the
No.
one slide where she explained the
Hmm.
steps, uh, we were
3 and 4,
mostly,
I guess.
yeah, we were mostly
Yeah. Hmm.
concentrating on clinical cases. So,
Yes.
in organizational cases, what do you do?
Oh, no, no, no. Yes. Let me clarify this. I got your point, Sri Lakshmi. You said that the kind of verification of antecedents and diagnosis of the remedial measures, right? So do not even take these things, let me tell you, do not take these things as a kind of very literal sense. Rather, it is going to be something like, like suppose for or organizational analysis, right? So for an organization analysis, so as I said that suppose an organization's ups and downs. So first, you have to verify that ups and downs we are making something the antecedents of ups and downs, especially for downs, right? So suppose organization is not profit is going down, people are going to get like absentees rate going to be very high, absenteeism rate going to be very high. So all these are going to be very kind of downs of the organization, right? So we have to verify these things. It's not that only like you will be noting them down, but you have to verify from the observations, like from the record of this employees, that whether their absenteeism report, record has gone up or not. From the past history of the case, like what was the absenteeism report, whether it was absenteeism report has gone up, or maybe it is as it is. Okay, so and also you have to interview people who are showing a little difference, in terms of their behavior, deviance in terms of behavior. That is also in organizational cases as well. Okay, and then you have to think of, like, you have to, if you are aware of, Shilakshmi, that in organization, when we are talking about the change or bringing about certain changes in organization, we have to go for this force field analysis. Have you heard of this force field analysis?
No, ma'am.
No, so no problem. Let me just simplify these things. So when you know that, okay, organization, performance, employees' performance has gone down, and you have verified these things from different sources. Okay, so this part is there, this step is there in organizational cases as well. And then you have to find out the remedies, that you have to diagnose it, and go for the diagnosis. You have to find out that, what could be, way out for that. So you have to talk to the employees, you have to find out those factors which are attributed to this, their absenteeism, and you have to, you have to work with those factors as well. Not only it's there in organization, not only there in clinical. Okay, so all these factors you have to suggest, for all these antecedents, up downs, you have to suggest certain remedial measures in the light of this present causes. Am I making sense?
Yes, ma'am. So we also do case studies of like people that have passed away. So all the steps of the case study cannot be fulfilled and like follow up or something. So do we skip that step?
Okay, that is, yeah. So suppose people passed away. Okay, I mean, that's suppose some of the eminent personalities. So for them, though, we cannot suggest anything, but we could have written. I mean, we can add one section that if he did not do this, maybe could have been a different scenario for him. Because like the person who has died, we cannot suggest anything, any remedy for that. But then at least we can suggest that, okay, if he, understanding this case, right, we can suggest that, okay, if he could have gone for this kind of treatment, suppose for a particular cancer patient, and then we can take some lesson from that, and we can help the other people who are having the suffering from the same thing. Are you getting my point? So person who died, then definitely we cannot suggest any remedial thing for him or her, but then we can learn these things, and we can suggest some like remedial thing, so that we can save people who have been suffering from the same thing but not yet died, but they're still surviving. Are you getting
Yeah,
my
I
point?
was
So this is
talking about step 5, ma'am. Follow up of the
yes.
case.
Okay, so for this people who died, for passed away, that part is not remedial part, doesn't make any sense to them. But then remedial part we need to include, not for that particular individual, but for the rest of the people suffering from, suppose a person died of a certain very specific type of cancer, right? So person died, so that remedial part we cannot suggest anything to that person who died, because that is like it's of no use basically. But we can think of some remedial thing for this type of cancer, for those who are still surviving but suffering from that. Am I making sense?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so that is only for this type of thing, but you have to suggest certain remedial things, so that those people who are still surviving but having the similar type of, suffering from the similar type of cancer, just an example, right, similar type of disease, they can better learn from this case study, because it has certain application as well to the society, right?
Yeah, ma'am.
I guess I have answered your question.
Just that follow up, what do you do?
Sorry?
The step which is like follow up of the case. What do you write there?
Follow-up case. Yes, follow-up. Yeah, follow-up also, like definitely the person who died, for them to follow-up doesn't make any sense. But
Yeah,
at
it will
least
be used for the prevention.
for the prevention
It will
purpose,
be
for
used
those
for the
people.
prevention.
prevention or maybe some treatment as well. If it is not even prevention, for treatment purpose, for those who are still surviving but having this, suffering from the similar type of disorder. Right?
Okay, ma'am.
Got it?
Okay.
Okay.
Okay, thank you, Rita, for giving your valuable time for
Thank
our
you, sir.
students. And thank
I
you.
have learned many things from you and from the students as well. Thank you.
Thank you. So now I am closing. So if
Yes,
you
sir.
have any question, you can directly ask in the WhatsApp
In
group.
the group.
Yeah.
In the group. And also next class I will be there. So if anything emerged, popped up
Yeah,
in your
yeah.
mind,